want to show you how I made this Halloween treat box. I used the Wicked Cool stamp set and the Wicked Fun specialty paper. I'm going to start by showing you how I cut and folded the specialty paper to create the box. I created a sample template so that you can see the scoring lines and the cutting lines that I made for this box. I began by cutting an 8.5 by 4 inch piece of the paper, and after that I went ahead and used my paper cutter with the scoring blade to just score a 1/2 inch from this long edge and another 1/2 inch down the other long edge. Then I turned it and I scored at 1.5, 2, 5, and 5.5 inches. The dotted lines on this template show you where it's scored across, all of these dotted lines, and then the solid lines show you where I then went back and had to cut the notches out to create the box. Once you've done that, after you've folded along all these score lines and then cut along the solid lines, you'll have something that looks like this. The next thing you're going to want to do is to add sticky strip adhesive to these two flaps, which will form the bottom edge of the box, and then these two flaps, which will be the front of the box, and those will fold back to the back side of the box to hold everything together. So we're going to go ahead and go. This is the Wicked Fun specialty paper that we're using, and I've already prepared it. It's already been cut, scored, and then folded. I've added the sticky strip, but before I assemble the box, there's a couple things that I need to do. First of all, up here on this corner, just kind of sort of flying off the corner of the box, I have used the bat stamp image to create the bats, and so I want to turn this over. This smallest section is my front flap for the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Jet Black StazOn. I like the StazOn because it seems to have a more true black color, and it also seems to dry a little bit faster. So what I'm going to do is just get to where this flap is and just position the bat image so that it looks like it's flying just off the corner of that flap. So there's that. Then I want to turn this around. This is going to be the front of my box when I fold it, and I want to have the bats coming up from the bottom corner. So I'm going to just turn this over, ink up my stamp again, and then just position that stamp, and there's the bats for the bottom. Okay, once I have that done, the next thing I want to do is also, I want these edges on my flap rounded, so I'm just using the corner rounder punch to round those edges. Okay, so now I've got my rounded edges. Now I'm ready to assemble the box. So I will go ahead and remove the backing on the sticky strip. And then the easiest way that I've found to do this is to take this bottom edge, this is the bottom edge of your box where these two flaps are, and just kind of put that flush against your table. Then take the back side of the box. These little flaps are going to go to the inside of the back side of the box flaps. So I'm just going to fold this up and square that up, and then just go ahead and attach the sticky strip. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this side. You'll get a nice square fit there. And then we have adhesive on these two front flaps as well. So I'm going to take the first side and fold that up, and then you can just make sure that you get it good and pressed. And then the second one. I'll do the same width. Okay, so now there's your box. The next thing I'm going to do is take some basic black classic ink, because it's not permanent, and just do some shading on these edges. So I just went around with a sponge and shaded all of the corners of the boxes, all of the edges, to make it look a little shadowy and a little more for Halloween. So I've done that on all the edges. And then I have cut a 8.5 inch piece of black grosgrain, just the 1/4 inch grosgrain, and I've adhered just a little tiny piece of sticky strip on each end, and that is how I'm going to attach the handle for this box. So I will peel off the backing. And I'm just going to fit the side with the sticky strip on it, just inside that side edge. Then you're going to bring it around and make sure that you don't twist the ribbon so it's straight all the way around. And just tuck that other edge into the side and press it on there. So there's your handle. So now your box is complete. Okay, so now we're going to move on to creating our focal point. I'm going to set this aside. I'm just going to punch a circle out of the pair of pizzazz. And then I've used a 2-inch circle that I die cut using the Big Shot with the Circles 2 die cut. And that's the perfect size to just layer onto that scallop circle and underneath the 1 3/4 inch circle punch that is going to be our white layer. So I've done those two, and then I'm going to go ahead and just shade with the sponge and the black ink again around these edges of both of these layers. This just gives it a little more of a spooky look to it. So I've shaded those. Okay, and I'll layer those in a minute. Next, we're going to move on to creating this focal point. And I'm just using white cardstock, just a scrap really. And then I'm using the Witch's Boots from the Wicked Cool set. And I'm going to color with my markers using the paintbrush tip right onto the marker. I'm using Old Olive, Basic Black, and Rich Razzleberry, and I'm starting with a lighter color, not the black first, just because it helps kind of keep your markers from getting muddying up the color. So I did her little laces, her little shoelaces in Old Olive, and then I just did the stripes every other one. I did an Old Olive stripe on her socks, and then a Rich Razzleberry stripe in between. So then I just used the Basic Black on the boots. And then I just stamped this image on white cardstock. Just a scrap. So there's your little boots. And then I took the StazOn again to stamp the wording directly above the boots, and it's just Have a Wicked Holiday, or Halloween. And this is also in the Wicked Cool set. All the stamp sets used here are from that set. And I'm just going to, I need to pull this closer so I can get it in the right spot. I'm just going to position this right above the boots. So there's that. Next, I'm going to take the Color Spritzer tool with my Old Olive marker, and I've just lined this up so that I've got it pretty much in the center of that paintbrush tip. And then I'm just going to spritz this to give it sort of a speckled ink look. I'm not sure if you can see that with my hand in the way. And then I'm going to use my 1 3/4 inch circle punch, And I'm just going to go ahead and center that inside of the circle. Her little, the tips of her boots are going to get cut off, but that's okay. We're going to fix that in a minute. There's our focal point. Then I'm going to use the old olive ink and just sponge up the edges to take just some of the harshness of the white edge off of this and give it a little more color. So there's that. Next thing that I did was I just took this, the little boot stamp again, and I just inked up only the shoe part of it. I left the laces and everything else I didn't worry about. Just used it on a scratch piece of paper, stamped that again in black, and then I cut out the little boots. So I've already done that to save time. And then we're just going to take the two-way glue pen and apply a little bit of two-way glue to the first set of boots that we stamped. And just lay these right over the top. So that she's got her little tips of her boots showing. And so that they're not cut off. Okay, so there are her boots. Now we can go ahead and assemble this focal point, and I'm just going to use snail adhesive to center this razzleberry circle right over the Pear Pizzazz circle scallop. And then I'm going to use the dimensionals, just a couple of dimensionals on the back side of this white circle to pop that up and give it some dimension. Okay, so this is just going to go right on the front side, just centered in between and layered over that razzleberry circle. So there's your focal point. Because this box is going to get opened and closed, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of sticky strip because I think it might hold just a little bit better. And so I'm going to put, actually I'm going to take our box that we have here, I'm going to stick the sticky strip just to this, above this edge of the flap here, peel off that backing, and then I kind of want to center this circle on the front. Once you kind of have it positioned where you want it, then just go ahead and reach around and press that onto the flap so that's good and secure. Okay, one more step. I've got some magnetic tape that I just bought at the craft store, and I'm just going to peel off about an inch of this, and then I'm going to cut it in half. So I've got about 2 1/2-inch pieces of this magnetic tape. It's got adhesive on the back side. I just want to stick the magnet sides together, and then I'm going to take this and put it right up here on the lower edge of this scallop, and then I can fold my box closed, position it where I want the flap to close, press a little bit without smashing the box, and then you can pull this scallop circle up. The top magnet stays in place. The bottom magnet is in place where it needs to be, however it's not pressed all the way down, so you're going to want to stick your fingers down inside of that box and just give it a good press so that it's going to stay put. So there is your box. It's all finished. You can fit a York peppermint patty perfectly inside of this square. It's 3 by 3 when it's finished and a 1/2 inch thick. So Reese's peanut butter cups, just anything that you think might fit in there for a little Halloween treat.